I'd say this is pretty good.
Thanks, buddy.
I like it.
So, I've been meaning to get back to this channel for quite a while, but when I first started doing it, my second son had just been born, and he was still very little, and I was able to take away a few hours on the weekend to kind of work on it. But since then, I have had almost no time, so I had to figure out some way to maintain posting, but not have it take 3 hours out of every Saturday or Sunday. So that just wasn't tenable anymore. So like any lazy YouTuber, I'm gonna switch to React content, um, which is great actually, because I recently had the pleasure of launching five, soon to be six, educational games during my tenure at Knowledgehook. One of which we're going to look at here today. So these kids, fun teams, have a little channel where they play educational games and they, do commentary on them. I think they're at the oldest, maybe 10. So I reached out to their dad and I said, "Hey, who manages this channel?" And sent him some demos of the games. And so we're going to take a look at them playing it through today. So there's a lot we could do. They probably did about maybe four or five of the games. We're going to take a look at MineCart. And MineCart is a game designed for modeling integer addition and subtraction concepts that we spent quite a bit of time sort of thinking through. But I think if you watch kind of the first little bit, you'll get a sense of what's going on
Today I
here.
will be doing
Let me turn
adding
him
a
up a bit,
positive. Let me just see. So,
adding a positive. All
there's
right,
a
let's take a look.
cart going down. There's a balloon letting it go up. Okay.
Yeah,
So what do I do? Oh, maybe I press on this.
wish he would scroll down.
I think the balloons make you go up.
So you see there's a little bit of a hint animation there. Like in the beginning, there was a lot of things that sort of weren't clear, and the input to this was entirely different and honestly a little bit incoherent in the beginning. So we made it kind of a multiple choice deal. And the fun thing about that is that when we went to do the writing, um, we could sort of give students hints or make the problem more or less difficult based on the choices that we gave them. So they might look at it and say, "Oh, I need to add sandbags." And then they realize, "Well, I can't add sandbags. Oh, and I realize I have to take away balloons," that kind of thing. This one is all about just adding balloons, but we'll skip forward to some of the others in a bit.
So let me see. Okay.
Yeah, you
So
got
you
it.
got to get the gems.
Yay. So in some initial versions, it took
If it
people,
makes that
I
noise,
don't
it
know,
means you got it correct.
5, 10 minutes to figure
Yay.
out what's going on. He got it in
Let's
about
see.
45 seconds, which is great.
Right. Gotta press this. You gotta press this white bar at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I need to add 3 balloons.
Uh-huh. So it's going to go up 3 units. You know, the little lines, hold on real quick. The little lines, we just added those in because we needed a reference point. I always thought that I was going to have like some measuring stick or some other artifact within the game that allowed the student to dimension it. But honestly, the lines worked, and they're not that obtrusive, and it sort of helps you see the scale of everything. And so they just kind of stuck. It was one of those things we threw in kind of as a hack, but then, wound up working.
Right? Yeah,
I think it
that's
did.
good. I'd say this is pretty good.
Thanks, buddy.
I like it. Yeah, so
Okay,
1,
cool.
2, 3.
So hold on, let's go back real quick. Okay, so now instead of having add or remove, I didn't do add and subtract because I thought subtract was a little more, I guess, abstract. So we did add and remove, and now the add and remove action is being switched to a plus, um, or a not a minus, but a subtraction symbol, or an add versus subtraction symbol, I guess you could say. The balloon is meant to represent the sign of the number, right? And we'll see that in later iterations. So what we're saying is that we're adding 4 items that have a positive effect on the value we're measuring, because we're not measuring balloons. We're not measuring, well, there'll be sandbags later. We're not measuring carts or gems. we're measuring the height of the platform. And that's key when you're combining integers to understand what's the value I'm actually tracking here, right? And in this case, it's the height. So we're going to add four entities that have a positive effect on the value of my system, which is the height of the platform. Pops up, and we got the gem.
And I press the blue button that says submit with the rocket ship to submit it.
Yeah. So this is interesting. This was originally a formative assessment platform with like multiple choice questions. So we had to figure out a way to kind of embed a little game experience into that format, right? So basically what we did is we said they're going to play the game and then submit that session. So if you look at the reports, what you'll see is it will show you whether the kid got it on the first try, second try, third try, or there were no correct attempts submitted. And that's kind of the analog to like, did they get it right or wrong? The way we tracked it is that the question will be marked as correct, no matter how many attempts it takes them, which I think makes a lot of sense because, we had some, adults playing through and really struggling and taking like 8 to 10 different attempts to get something right. And on that 10th attempt, they were just so excited because they finally kind of figured it out. I don't see how you're going to mark that as wrong, particularly if it's a kid struggling through and then finally getting it. Whether you got it on your first try or 10th try, it's a win either way. And these aren't really for assessment. You can like fold assessment questions in with them if you want, but it's more for learning and growth. And so I think that made a lot of sense.
Yay. Let me it go down.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Adding a negative.
So now we see why it's
Ooh,
actually called
the
MineCart.
crystal is
There's
at
a
the
little mine
bottom.
there.
So the bags make it go down.
Ooh, I like
I
that.
gotta
We
add
labeled it
2
as
bags.
-1
2 more bags.
and -2. Hey, there you go, buddy. So the bags move it down, the balloons move it up. It's the same as your kind of integer
If the
counters.
cart gets the crystal, you didn't finish it. You have to press submit to finish it. So that's 3 bags I have to add. 3 sacks.
Hey,
I
nice
think
job.
there might be sand in the sacks because it's so heavy.
Yep.
Maybe dirt
Maybe dirt.
or soil.
Good point.
I'm not really sure. But the
Yeah, it's
bags,
okay, buddy.
those
All right.
bags are pretty heavy.
I think you get the idea
I gotta
here,
add 2
right?
bags.
So it tracks the same way. There's plus 2 sandbags, which would be adding 2 negative entities. But as we go along, and I'll skip forward a bit, we add in the language. So I'm saying add -1. So I remove the visual balloon, and that's how we say, okay, well, if you're adding -1, something that has a negative impact on the value of your system, what would that be, a balloon or a sandbag? And then so you have to actually think about, well, if I want to add sandbags, I need to add, a -1. And you can see the choices here. They have to add negative no matter what. So in the beginning, we sort of make it easier for them to kind of learn the rules of the game before they really have to apply them significantly.
Run. Oh, I forgot to say that you gotta press the arrow on the top left for you to run the code.
I'm not sure what he means by that. It's okay.
So you gotta do your answer, which is
So let me skip ahead a little bit, see if he gets to the symbolic part.
I'll say add 3. Let me show you.
Add 4, add 3, add 2.
So
Okay. So there is a level where it goes plus a -1. So it's purely symbolic. So you get like consecutive signs. And he only did adding a negative and adding a positive here. But let's jump on over and I can show you kind of the other versions. But here's your MineCart. So I have adding a positive, adding a negative, subtracting a positive. Let's do everyone's favorite, subtracting a negative, right? Um, you know what? And I'll just use the preview windows for this. All right. So let's pull that up, see what's going on. Here's my MineCart. I got 3 balloons, 4 sandbags. So if I want to go up, right, I can add balloons, but I'm not given that option, right? So the multiple choice you can sort of use to kind of guide kids towards the concept. I'm not going to add 4 sandbags. I got to take away 4. So I'm subtracting a negative here. subtracting a negative, and I'm going to say this over and over again, but I feel like it gets missed pretty often. When I'm doing this, I'm not counting sandbags, not counting balloons, I'm not counting carts. The value I am measuring is the height of the platform. We have a system and we're adding and removing entities that have a negative or positive impact on that system. There is so much more I could say about this game, but I think I hit on the main points. And we got to see our guy play through it a little bit. Man, he did a great job. These kids are so cool. It's really nice of them to kind of play this for me. Go ahead, check them out on the YouTube. The name of the channel is Fun Teams. It's the school year, so I don't think they've posted in a while, but I have a new game coming out. I'm going to send them, and maybe they'll try it out. So, sneak peek of that one to come. And hopefully, I can do this more often. And for better or worse, just sort of post these things mostly unedited. It's 5 a.m. right now. Yeah. All right. I gotta go.